Cool. I like the way that we played that fight. I think that was great. I think that was great. If you guys still had the Mei, you can maybe Mei wall on top of this and get some of your backliners up here and then play more for this space.
Be silly.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
If we swap the Mei, would it be Mei Soj or Mei Cass?
Probably Mei Soj, right?
Into this matchup, it would probably be Mei Soj, yeah, over the Cassidy. Like, most of the time, I mean, I think the main differentiating factor here is, like, both of them can be okay, but I think Soj probably just has, like, higher overall damage output at longer ranges, and then also Soj can actually get to these high grounds while Cassidy can't, so it's a pretty big advantage to be able to rotate vertically in spaces where there is actually an area to rotate to. Okay. So here, this is the kind of nade that I'm not a huge fan of, because nade doesn't actually do anything unless there's follow-up. The one thing it will always guarantee is that the person who's naded will back up into cover. So, but like, if I asked you, like, was this nade worth, you know, them AFKing for 3 seconds, it's probably not a good trade, right?
Yeah.
So just in general, you want to be using nades when there's some sort of follow-up on it. It's like if you got like a 5-man blizz, but your entire team's already dead, who's going to kill the people who are frozen? You know, like no one's going to do anything. So
Yeah.
I would say that maybe you can save the nade for, again, that matching idea that we have, which is when we're on defense and they're on attack, we kind of play to more match their resources. Synchronize our resources with theirs, if you will. And then when we're on attack, it's the exact opposite. So if you guys were red team, what red team would want to do is have a situation like this. They want you to nade them early, so then they can say, hey, we're naded. Let's just chill behind this corner and not do anything for 5 seconds. Okay, now the nade is gone. We know, or from their perspective, they know that you don't have nade anymore. So then they get to push with no fear of them getting naded. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all they have to do is exchange a little bit of time for a really big resource, and that's not a positive trade for us. So what you should do is say, hey, I'm not going to throw my nade until I see a really nice opportunity, or because like maybe you just see a huge nade that you can just go for and it's completely fine. Again, break the rules when you can, right? Or like when you see an opportunity to. But what you in theory should do is save your nade until they actually commit to pushing you. Right? So what they can maybe try to do at a higher level is they can try to like fake that they're pushing to bait you to throw the nade to then stable and then push after. Because now they know, hey, there's no more nade, right? But if you see their team actually start pushing in aggressively, which they eventually have to do, right? They can't just sit here for 2 minutes or else they lose the game, right? So they have to eventually push you. That's their responsibility. And because you're a smart player, you know that, right? So wait for them to actually push you and then you punish them with the nade. And because they're too far in, they can't back up anymore. So now your team gets to follow up on that nade. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, for example, this was also really bad because we're using our shield, we're using our slow, and we're using our form all at the same time. Who's in danger?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what the attacking team wants. And this is what you guys should also want if you were in their shoes. You want to see the defending Ramatra use all of his cooldowns. You want to see the defending Ana use their nade and not get a kill. Because now, after you've used this form and it's over, he's going to push with his shield, his slow, his form, and then their quote-unquote nade, which is just them having a Zenyatta. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the idea of power spikes, okay? When you guys click a lot of your buttons, you're going to be very, very, very strong, right? Your power is going to spike, and it's going to be very, very high, and it's going to go back down. So like here is like a Winston waiting for his jump and bubble. Here, a Winston jumps on enemy team, uses bubble, right? Uses jump, and then jumps back out, and now he's like resetting. You guys see this? So that's the idea of a power spike. This is what we want to be matching as the defending team, okay? So here, did they use an ultimate?
No.
No.
Okay, so they didn't use an ultimate, and we killed somebody first. And there's still 60 seconds left, and yet we're clicking 2 big ultimates. This rally being used here might mean that we just lose by default because they're going to get blade here. And we don't have an answer to that. Right? So this is the logic that we need to have. It's like, we don't need to worry about winning this fight right now with 2 ults when we're already up 5v4. We're going to win anyways, as long as we don't like fuck up and let them get a trade back, right? But this rally is so important in my opinion to save for that blade. And this ram ult's also probably not necessary because I still feel like you guys have a really big resource to use, which you could almost call what I would say is like a pseudo ultimate. Okay, it's something that like is so strong, but it's not. It doesn't even cost you using like an actual ultimate, and that resource would be a nade. So if you guys are already up a player, just walk with your Ana and look for a nade as they're trying to run away, and you guys probably win this without needing to use these two ultimates. So we can save them for the next fight. You guys understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Let's skip ahead a little bit.
I think our fight plan here was to farm Nano and Nano Rail early
Yeah.
before they could ult.
Okay.
Yeah. Then they ulted.
I get you. Okay. So they go with a pretty aggressive push timing. They got their Soj slow over here. They got their Ram slow. They got their Ram shield. They got their window. Everyone's spamming through. And their composition does have quite a bit of poke, especially with their backline. So I think this is going to be a little bit scary for us. We want to use everything we can just to get away. I think this nade was also completely fine. Don't mind this nade at all to save your Ram. I think that's completely okay. We end up going for a Nano OC. So this I don't mind it too much. I just wonder if this would work against a better team, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't mind the fight plan that much, guys. I actually think it's pretty okay. What do we need to do now?
Not die.
Push out. Not
Push
die.
up.
Okay,
Push
not
out.
die is a pretty good answer.
Stable.
In general, you want to not die. Okay, there's a different answer I'm looking for because you guys are already stable.
Oh, already have you.
Push
Catch
them.
these. Catch
Push
these.
really
these guys.
fast.
They're down 3.
Fast.
It's W.
Why am I saying fast? It's not just because they're down 3.
It's 15
Because
seconds.
it's 16.
That's the real reason. Yeah.
They got no time on the clock.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. In a perfect world, like honestly, in a perfect world, you guys would actually make it to here. This is never going to happen in a real game, by the way. But in theory, it would be good if you guys were able to get your whole team over here. Because you're asking the question, would you rather lose to us in a fight over here or touch the objective? You can't do both.
Mm-hmm.
So if one of them tries to go to point, do you guys not just kill everyone over here and then grab the point later? You know, it's that kind of logic. So you can do that on like a lot of different game modes. On this KR though, like, you know, that's like a super extreme example of the situation. But yeah, like in theory, it would be really, really nice. Here we should be able to get these staggers. Genji should be able to die. This is when, if I was you guys, I would push up really, really, really hard. Because if you guys let them make it to point and survive, you're going to get bladed on. They're going to cycle to their ultimates because we've used basically all of ours. So we don't have a lot of resources right now. You guys should be playing for a really aggressive nade. And the best way to play for that nade is to make sure they don't have what resource? What resource would counter your nade the easiest on their team?
MO?
Like.
I don't know.
What is it?
MO? BAP thing? I forget.
Okay, Immo could counter it, sure. Anything else?
Deflect. Tran. No.
Deflect could. Trance, not really.
Ram.
A
Ram
Shield.
shield is a big one, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Where like if Ram shield is up, it can be difficult to throw the nade, especially when you're at like a lower level. Okay, because like here you're at slightly different elevation. So if we can step up and spam the Ramatra, what is he going to be forced to do?
He's gonna have to
Yeah,
He's going
if
to
he-
Ram shield just coming out of his spawn, right?
Mhm.
So if we force that shield or force that immo or force that deflect just to get them out of spawn because they feel so much time pressure to actually touch, then over here is where you hit a big fat nade and then they all die. You guys get what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
So we want to force those resources early to set up our nade. Or they just give up. That also works too. Okay, not too bad. How did the attack go?
We went to their third point. Well, first, well, we tapped first. I remember that.
I think so, yeah.
We went.
We got
Okay.
pretty
I was
So,
okay.
like,
Okay.
so like a
This is
snowball?
this is my first scrim as a tank player, so I was like trying to see where we were at. I don't know. I was
We
just,
had
limit
4 minutes
testing.
and 25 seconds on the clock.
yeah.
okay.
So I'm like a really. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a JQ OTP. Okay.
Mhm.
So I am just trying to see what I can do on these characters that I don't have as much playtime on.
Yeah, makes sense.
The dreaded Brig Moira. Oh no. I miss it.
I think we were.
Their comp is
what
actually
were-
really interesting.
Yeah.
Venture is not something I would expect here. The rest of their composition, I don't hate it.
We had a fight plan. I can't remember what it was.
Mm.
At all.
We wanted to swing high ground and clear it. That's what we wanted to do. That didn't end
Okay,
up being a thing.
please don't kick me. Nice. I won the gamble, guys.
Gamble
Okay.
core.
So we just talked about a little bit earlier how when we're looking at a make my screen black real quick. I'm pretty sure people who've been coached by me before, you'll recognize this. So if we look at this as power level and we look at this as time, okay, we're gonna do a little bit of math class here. Then right now we're kind of weak, and then suddenly we're super strong, and then we go back to being weak, and then we're really strong, and we go back to being weak. So there are certain characters in this game that are more like this, right, with this kind of pattern. Then there's some characters that are more just kind of like this. Okay, a character that's kind of like this is just a straight line is like a Widow. Okay, or it's something like a Sigma. A character that doesn't really have a huge power spike, like he doesn't just click a button and suddenly become super strong, right? It's kind of a character that just over time maintains strength at an even level. Same with Widowmaker, right? Widowmaker kind of just sits there and shoots until she hits something. She doesn't click a button and then suddenly becomes way stronger. You guys get the point?
Yeah.
So when we're looking at a character that's more like this, though, this is a character that's kind of like, I would say the best example would maybe be a Bastion. Okay.
Oh.
Bastion clicks a button, becomes super strong. The second that turret form is gone, he's really weak. He's back to being really strong and then really weak. So understanding this kind of like fluctuation of power, this like pattern of power spikes, you know, is really important to understand, not only as an individual character, like Bastion follows this pattern, but also a composition can follow this pattern, right? So let's say, for example, that you guys were playing the comp that you started on, like the Ram, May, Reaper, Moira stuff. That composition is super power spiky and then like really slow. Then really fast and really slow. You guys are not playing like a slow, like Pharah Widow comp where you're just kind of like slowly poking them the entire time with no real change. You're either full in or you're full out, right? That's the major difference. And so when we're on attack versus defense, that's another aspect that we need to think about. So right now we're going to look at our attack a little bit, okay? When you guys are on attack, I'll draw you guys in red and I'll have the defending team be here in green, okay? When their Ramatra uses shield slow form, is he weak or is he strong?
He's strong.
He's strong,
Oh,
okay.
big,
So this is going to be the Ramatra on defense, okay? So their Ram, when he uses his cooldowns, he's really strong. What about when those cooldowns are gone? Does he have them back immediately or does he have to wait a little bit?
Nope, you gotta wait.
He has to wait a little bit. So he's going to be weak, he's going to be strong, and he's going to be weak. So if we're on attack, when would we like to be strong? Would we like to match them like this?
Nope.
Okay. Or would we want to do the opposite and be like this?
Yeah. Yep.
Which one do you
Yeah,
guys think?
that one.
This one, the opposite. Okay. Why would that be good for us?
Because we catch them when they're weakest.
We catch them when they're weakest. Okay. Right. And so that's the kind of mindset where on defense, you can apply that. I'm not saying you can't, but generally speaking, on paper, on defense, you would actually like to be like this. Because then it means that there's no opening for the attacking team to catch you when you're weak. So on defense, you would kind of wait until their Ram commits onto you, and then you would commit your Ram stuff. So you're always slightly behind them by like 1 or 2 seconds, but you're just sort of matching them the entire time. So you guys are staying relatively at the same strength, and there's never an opening for them to punish you when you're weak. But now we're on attack, so we really want to get that punish, and that requires us to kind of bait them to use something and then go afterwards. So let's use that logic, what we just talked about here. So they end up using a resource. Can anybody spot what that resource is? Anybody know? Venture. Okay, Venture's using Burrow, right?
Both cooldowns. He ventured turret.
Yeah. Soj also used slow, I think, a little bit earlier. Now, check this out, guys, right? So Venture's finishing their cycle. Ram used slow. Okay? This slow is like what we talked about with your guys' Ram cycle on third point and like our Ana using nade. Does it do anything? Is there any follow-up?
Nope.
No. So this is a very bad slow. It's not doing anything. That Venture cycle didn't do anything. What do we think about this Genji dash?
That was my bad.
Bad. Very bad. Because what are we doing right now? Nothing.
I thought
Right, at least we shouldn't be doing
I
something.
did it bad. I did it
Okay.
bad. I didn't like.
So here, I think the number one thing for Salt to try and do is to try and clear this if you can. Okay. But it might be a little bit tricky with your composition because, you know, you guys haven't actually taken a lot of space yet. So having your brig here for packs would be really good. But this is a pretty far angle, right? So we would need to clear some space first. Now, look at the shield that we have here. Okay. We drop a shield. It blocks healing. That's great. We have a slow here on the Venture coming out of Burrow. That's fine as well. Okay, so this is when we should be playing aggressive because they don't have the resources that we do. They wasted their slow. They wasted maybe their shield. They wasted their venture burrow. Okay, now they end up using shield. That's fine. But we should get a lot of space in exchange. So even though we did not get a kill, because we used resources when they were weaker than we were, okay, we should get space in exchange. Not kills, but space. And the more space we can get, oftentimes the easier it'll be to get kills afterwards. Okay, so look at their Soj. Why did their Soj slide out, even though she took 0 damage? Because her team lost the space. Previously, her team was here, so her angle connects with her team. But now her team's being pushed back this way, so she's isolated if she stays here. That's why she left. This is the advantage of being able to take space. But now we're using form, and our form's going to end soon. Let's go to Clockser POV here. 5 seconds left on form. Let's look at this guy's POV. Still has his punch, right? So guess what's going to happen once our form ends? Our power spike is going to be ending. So they're going to say, okay, my turn, walk in with their form. You guys understand how this works? It's always about power and resources, okay? You see this? Now they walk in. We actually hit a really nice mutual grenade here. This is great. So we end up healing and damaging with anti. That's awesome. Okay. Salt, we're trolling a bit, but that's okay. All right, this guy is a very special player. Okay, let me just say that. They end up using immortality. Okay, whoa. Chill. We gotta chill, okay? This is the #1 problem that I ran into with contenders teams, okay? Contenders teams, some of the best players in the world, like by far, okay? But they have a problem. They have an insane amount of ego and an insane amount of ADHD. Okay,
my bad,
so
my bad. You got me, bro.
I'm not even flaming you. I'm flaming mainly like the highest level contenders players. They cannot help themselves but want to get kills every single second of the game. They're so bloodthirsty. So the second they get 1 kill, they do what's called overheating. They look for their second, their third, their fourth, their fifth, and they just want to get an ace. They want to kill the whole team. Same thing happens in Valorant as well. You get 1 kill, you think you can get 3 or 4 more. And then that leads to you getting traded and you dying because you're playing too fast. Okay? So the only way that red team here has a chance of winning this fight is if they kill somebody quickly. If they don't kill somebody quickly, the fact that we have a Ramatra and they don't will eventually lead to us guaranteeing a win. So all we got to do is stick to the 3 S's, okay? So once you get a kill, and you're the one who is getting the kill first in the scenario, which will happen very often, you'll be in the scenario a lot where you guys get a pick, okay? You're going to stack, you're going to stable, and you're going to slow. And slow is slow push. That's what it stands for, but it's easier to remember slow. Okay, so stack, stable, and slow. These are my 3 S's that I tell to every single one of my teams. So when you guys get this pick, imagine if instead of walking up aggressively, you guys stacked, so you found each other, which if you guys go together, you'll be safer most of the time. So it's just a good general default to find your teammates, make sure everyone's good, make sure no one's in any danger, right? So imagine there was an enemy Genji where like, hey, we killed this Ram. There's an enemy Genji over here pressuring our backline or something. By us turning around and making sure we're all okay, by stacking with each other, we can confirm that everyone is safe. After you've done that, then you check to make sure everyone's stable. And stabling just means that you get your HP to full, right? And you get your resources back. So we would need to make sure that everyone's healed up to full. Right now, Salt has a little bit of damage. Clockser has a lot of damage. So if you guys stack and you stable, you give time for your supports to heal you guys back up to full. Once you've checked both of those boxes, now you're allowed to slow push. Now you guys can push as a team, maintain your formation, and go get these kills. And a lot of times, if you do this correctly, it'll actually be an even better result that you would have instead of you guys getting these kills right now. I would rather kill this Zenyatta in 10 seconds than I would in 5 seconds. Because the later I kill him, the more staggered he is. You guys understand? Mm-hmm. So by playing a bit slower, you actually put yourself in a more advantageous situation a lot of times because your stagger will be greater. Now we've trolled and you guys have thrown this entire first point. Okay. Now you guys have to go through back this entire process and try again. And there's no guarantee against a good team or an official. You guys will get another opportunity like that where you just automatically pick the Ramatra, right? They will see. They still have both supports active, but their Venture's obviously dead. The Ram uses shield. Okay. Good pressure on their Baptiste. Okay. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, we had the momentum and now it's gone. Because the Ram comes back first and just kind of like punches everybody, and then we're a bit cooked. How the hell did my Ana get here? What in the world? Did you go like... That?
I rotated.
What the hell? It's a long rotation. I think it's fine though. Yeah, I think if you were to rotate anywhere, getting to a high ground against Ramatra is usually a pretty decent idea. But I think you could either go to this high ground, which is a little bit sketchy, or honestly, I think an Ana player would just probably go and like just chill out here. Because when you play here, you're protected by this corner, by this wall, but you can still heal your team that's here, and that's where we ended up dying. So if their ram pushes past this corner, you could nade him, you could sleep him, you could do anything. You could like pocket the people that he's actually punching. You know what I'm saying? So you could probably do a lot from that angle.
I just missed my nade on him.
Ah, it's okay.
And then I went to meet up with Salt.
Yeah. But I mean, also, who was the first to die here? Was it Canada? Did our brig die here?
I don't remember.
Our brig? It was our brigger or Soj.
Yeah. Another rule of thumb is because you guys have no vertical mobility, you guys have no jump or like fly or whatever, and Ram is really, really scary against you, you can make the argument that on a brig can actually both rotate to this space, and then your Ram could be the only one on low ground, and then the entire rest of your team, like literally all four of you guys could go and take an angle somewhere on these high grounds, and then just leave your Ram on point. Because your Ram can just play here, get healed by your Ana. Your Brig can like push into this space and help your Soj and help whoever's over here, like your Genji as well, pressure the backline. You guys don't need to be on low ground. So I think that would be a really easy way to just avoid these like unnecessary deaths, is if you guys just aren't on low ground to begin with. Okay, Ram just used shield. That's one of his biggest cooldowns. So now there's maybe a timing for us to push in if we're stable. So let's get a little bit of our HP back, and then we should be able to go. Does anybody have an idea of what our brig should be doing?
Looking to rotate, maybe?
Rotate where?
To the top right there.
Yeah, to top right, correct. I want my brig to take this space with Genji. Because there's no way that a Soj is able to hold this space versus Genji brig. Additionally, if my brig is high ground, like we just said before, she's never in danger from this Ram. Ram cannot simply teleport up here. Okay? So if our brig gets to high ground and pressures out this Soj, this is a really, really good engage here. Don't mind this at all. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, then I would want our backline to somehow find a way to get to the high ground, and then once you get to the high grounds, you're able to control all of this space, okay? They use form as well. Do we still have our form? I think we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah, I was keeping. Yeah. Everything.
Right, so they use their form. All we got to do is just chill. Let this guy punch the air. I don't care. Let him punch whatever he wants. That's fine. Just do not die during this timing or else it's all screwed. Yeah. Just play your life. Let him use his form. Let him waste his slow. Let them waste everything. Now we're aggressive when his form ends, and then you can use yours and he doesn't have his. Okay? So I'm looking for this aggression. You guys see how we're like actively dying to this guy during his form timing? Why are we playing so close on this statue area when we know there's a big, strong Ramatra looking to punch our brains out? You know? Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I might have been saying
well,
rotate.
we shouldn't, right? Unless the rotation is called like over here.
Yeah,
somewhere, even then,
I don't know.
Okay, now we have form. We should be inting our brains out right now. So I would also want my Soj taking a more active angle, but our Soj needs to get stable. But our Soj shouldn't be at this low HP because we shouldn't be getting punched by Ram in the first place. That would be the preventative like step to take, right? But I would want my Soj to like slide up to an angle somewhere, or maybe even swing here and shoot the Ram from the side. So that way we're not all shooting in the same direction, you know? And I would typically want like my Ana to retain LOS of my Ram, and then my Brig can maybe roam on alternative angles with either the Genji or the Sojourn to stay away from their Ramatra. Okay?
I think I did it oopsies, and I should not have flanked that hard as Genji.
So here, do we have nade? We do have nade. Great. Okay, awesome. So it's good that we save nade for this. This is good. Just chill, just chill, just chill, just chill, just chill. Salt, you are hard trolling, my guy. Hard trolling.
Yeah,
Why go towards the guy that needs you there to keep his ult alive? Just stay away from him. His ult was about to end. It was absolutely about to end, but then we kind of gave him more. Yeah. Because now is when we should want to push. With our nano, with our OC, with like literally any resource that we want, we could push right now. But you ended up going super, super far. I think you're all the way over here or something.
I was,
like, yeah. Okay. Just went way too far there. That's fine though. Great kill. Okay, we lose our Ana though. Now we use rally. That's fine. Touch point, 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 touch point. Took too long to touch point. Okay. What? Okay, cool. I'm down for that, man. I'm down for that. That's a big burrow. See, high level venture player would have hidden somewhere over here, waited until the very last second, and just burrowed onto point to stall to give time for the team to come back. But This is fine. You guys should go kill this venture right now. Yeah, okay, good. Interesting. That's not a good shield, but I don't think they're touching anyway, so it's fine. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay.
Oh, Canada was like, I fucked up, guys.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit, okay? Canada's great, just, you know, don't want to end.
Should we swap to Akio's team? No, it's fine.
Sure, yeah, we can. We're basically done with this VOD anyways. I think it's pretty simple for you guys.
Yeah, there's like 3 minutes left.
Yeah. I think regardless of what comp you guys are playing, it's simply about understanding defense versus attack, understanding that on defense, you want to kind of match their cooldown cycles. So if their ram pushes us really aggressively, you have two decisions that you have the option of making. Is on defense, you can either give up space on purpose and then go in afterwards, which is just inviting this kind of like push-pull style with yourself and the enemy team. Or you could do what I'm saying, which is you play really slowly, and then when they go with an ultimate, you go with an ultimate. When they go with another, you go with another, and you kind of play in that like matchy style where you're always synchronized with the enemy team. That's what you should be doing with like Rally versus Blade and stuff, right? And then when you guys are on attack, it's the opposite, right? You want to make sure that you bait them to go first with some sort of resource. You bait their shield, bait their form, bait their slow, and then you get to use that cooldown that they just wasted. You get to use it on your timing, and they don't have it, right? So that's just like the most important distinction for you guys. Is the other team in a different call, I'm assuming?
Yeah, they're in the
Okay.